It is just over a month since Olivier Ntcham left Celtic to go all the way to his homeland and play for Marseille. It's been just a few weeks, but it's fair to say things haven't exactly gone to plan for Ntcham. In this video, I'm going to go in depth on what has happened and why it's gone so wrong for the former Celtic midfielder. The story has to start quite simply with the part of it that every single person virtually knows about Andrew Villas-Boas and the fact that he resigned from the Marseille job because the club signed Olivier Ntcham. Now, Villas-Boas didn't actually find out that Ntcham had signed for Marseille until the following morning, which is pretty remarkable for a manager. I mean, even if he wasn't involved in the deal, which he clearly wasn't, surely he's on social media or he has news channels or news apps on his phone. Surely he's aware of what's going on at the club that he's managing. Well, he used to manage. This is what AVB said when Ntcham was signed. "It's not a decision I'd taken. I heard about it this morning in the press when I woke up. He's a player I said no to. He wasn't on my list. I wasn't going for him. I've submitted my resignation to the board. I don't want to breach my contract, but I don't agree with the sporting policy." Okay, it is worth saying that AVB's exit from Marseille wasn't solely down to Olivier Ntcham as much as the newspaper headlines and those quotes actually seem to suggest that it was. Marseille were on a 4-game losing streak when Ntcham was signed. Just a few days prior to that, ultras of the club had gone to the Marseille training ground and had made a bit of a mess, let's just say. Put it this way, if you were to compare those scenes to the ones that we had with the fence thrown and all that kind of stuff after we lost to Ross County, I would say those Marseille scenes made the Celtic ones look like a kid's birthday party. That's how volatile they were in comparison. So in Ntcham's time at Marseille, it's fair to say it didn't quite get off to the ideal start. It couldn't really get much worse than the manager of the club quite literally resigning because you were signed. But it also hasn't got a lot better for Ntcham since. Up until this midweek, Wednesday night, he had played just 72 minutes over 6 matches. He hadn't started a game for the club yet. All of his appearances he'd made had come off the bench. He kind of found himself in a very similar position to what he did at Celtic actually, where quite simply he wasn't good enough to start, and he isn't good enough to start. There's players in the squad that are more rounded players and better options for the manager to start. So Ntcham spent virtually all his time sitting, watching the game from the sidelines. That was until Wednesday night when he got his first start for Marseille as his new side played a familiar foe, a team that he's already played this season, Lille. So Ntcham finally got his start, but it's fair to say that things didn't quite work out for him. He was hauled off at half-time of the match with the score goalless. He was then given a rating of 3 out of 10 by L'Équipe, who described him as lacking rhythm, saying that he couldn't keep up with the pace of the game and that his passing was very poor. And a look at the various stats from the game seemed to back that up. So really not a great start for Ntcham. It'll be interesting to see if he's in the side for Marseille's game this weekend. If he is, it could be an ideal opportunity for him to start his Marseille career. They're playing a French Cup tie against lower league opposition Canet Roussillon, who I've definitely butchered his name. But it is an opportunity for Ntcham to show what he can do if he's given the chance to start. You kind of feel like if he finally got his start and was taken off at half-time, the manager maybe isn't the fondest of him. So earlier this week, AVB's departure from Marseille was officially confirmed. He'd been on a kind of weird suspension all the way back from last month. But in the intervening period, Marseille did have a caretaker in charge. They have actually appointed the former Chile, Argentina, Sevilla boss Jorge Sampaoli as their new boss, but in a very 2021 twist, he hasn't actually been able to oversee a match yet. He was appointed last week. He's actually in France now, but seeing as he's come from Brazil, he's having to undergo a 7-day quarantine, which, as I say, is very 2021, very current day. In terms of Ntcham, the new manager coming in does mean that he will have some sort of a fresh start at Marseille, but it does seem like he's got a lot to do to win over hearts and minds at that club. Loads of comments he made even prior to coming to the club about PSG being his team, the whole AVB scenario, which, to be honest, maybe the Ultras would thank him for, and a number of other things, notwithstanding his performances on the pitch to date, mean that he's got a bit of an uphill task at Marseille. Don't be totally surprised to see him on one of those daft posts that Celtic will tweet or Facebook in June when the team are back training. That's if he doesn't earn a place in France's Euro 2020 squad. No. Right, I hope that covered it for you today. Bit of a shorter video, bit of a look at something we don't really do. We don't often take a look at players who have left Celtic. We did a video a couple of weeks ago on Jack Hendry. It's fair to say he's faring a lot better than Olivier Ntcham. But I think Ntcham is just one of these players who will probably in a few years will be remembered fondly, but will be remembered fondly more because of the time he was at the club. I know he gave us a few decent moments, scoring in a Scottish Cup final, scoring against Rangers, the winner, and obviously that famous goal in Lazio. And maybe those moments in that Lazio one in particular will mean that he's remembered more fondly than he should be. But he really did struggle to ever find any sort of consistency at Celtic. He's clearly a good player. Problem I and a lot of other people have with Ntcham is that he doesn't seem to enjoy playing football too much. He just seems to kind of sulk around. He fancies it some days when it's sunny and he's playing against good opposition, but if he wants to, roll his sleeves up and get involved in a tough game, it never really happened for him. So he's just one of the many players that I'll be kind of pleased not to have to talk about next season. We can move on, we can start something fresh under a new manager, under a new board, and hopefully we can wrestle back the title from Rangers. Goes without saying, we're going to have loads of content on the channel over the next wee period, and we have for the last 2 weeks or so. You can check all of that out on the channel. If you've not yet subscribed, we'd really appreciate you taking a wee bit of time out your day just to do that. It literally takes 2 or 3 seconds. It would be massively appreciated as we aim to get to 12,000 by the end of the month. It's an ambitious target, but we're going to give it a go. Another video tomorrow, and then we'll have the live reaction to Dundee United versus Celtic on Sunday. Let's hope for another win there.